everyone. Yeah, I wonder where we should sit. We can spread out. So hello, I want to first off start with a fun fact. Who here has heard of the Power Rangers? Jennifer was a Power Ranger. I promise it's relevant. I'm so excited to be here with Jennifer today, who's the founder of Purlisse and YENSA, 2 brands. And I have to say that I think everyone in this room has something in common. And it's all that we've failed a bunch of times. We definitely have. But the thing that differentiates both the Spotlight brand this morning and Jennifer sitting up here is they took those failures and they made it into a big success story. So we're going to talk about those hurdles that Jennifer overcame to launch not 1, but 2 brands. So let's jump in, and maybe you could just start with your story of how you kind of even got into beauty in general.
Yeah, so my path to beauty is unconventional. So I used to fight Power Rangers on TV. I'm a former TV villainess. And now I save complexion. So over 10 years ago, when I was on Power Rangers, my skin was wrecked from working in heavy makeup for 15 hours a day. And I developed rosacea, psoriasis, adult acne. I went to dermatologist after dermatologist, and nothing worked. And that's when I rediscovered my grandmother's Asian beauty secrets, such as Blue Lotus and white tea, and it healed my skin. And that's what inspired me to create Purlisse.
Great. And how about your second brand? It was so funny, because when we first met, I was like, 2 brands, oh my gosh.
Yeah, so, yeah, and there's an evolution. There's a reason why I started my second brand. So, I was pregnant with my daughter in 2014, and I was so depleted and exhausted. I'm sure, you know, all pregnant women are, but I was especially feeling really unhealthy, and my mother was feeding me these black superfoods, 8, such as black tea, black rice, black sesame, and black cumin seeds, and black mushrooms, along with others. And I was covering my skin, because my skin was really lackluster with foundation, and I'm sitting there, I was like, I want to infuse these superfoods into a really awesome foundation to give me full coverage. And that's what actually ignited my inspiration to start YENSA Beauty, which is derived from my last name Yen, which in Chinese means color and face. So YENSA means color and face in Chinese, and it's a superfood cosmetic, where YENSA is literally superfood science meets cosmetics.
Okay. So the first brand you launched was in 2008, right?
Yes.
During everything was tanking all around you left and right, Purlisse.
Yes.
And then what did you take from launching a brand in that kind of unstable environment to your second brand, YENSA? And remind me what year you launched YENSA.
So in October 8th, 2018. So I launched Purlisse, my first brand, in January 2008. And 10 months later, the recession hit, and we were in Henry Bendel, C.O. Bigelow, Fred Siegel, a lot of specialty boutique stores. But when the economy hit, literally our sales halted. It went from growing to just 0 within a matter of 11 months, and I had put everything that I owned into it, just everything that I owned. I was young, I was inexperienced, and so I failed. This is a story of failure, and we pulled back from the market. And when I came back in the market around 2011, because I wanted to repackage, I want to lower our pricing, and I came back to a whole new world, and I went back to a lot of the retailers. They didn't want to take us because we lost momentum, and half the stores actually closed along with the recession. So here I am, stuck. I didn't know what to do. We had a warehouse full of products with nowhere to distribute, and that's when it got me thinking about, I need to reinvent how we are distributed. And that's when we started partnering. I knew direct-to-consumer was really, really important. It was the way we were going to make the most impact and the highest margin structure. And so we started partnering with Ipsy, which is now massively big. But at the time, they were growing and they were coming out. They were a new idea that was being innovated during this recession. And so we took a chance, they took a chance, and now they are, a force, and they are talking about personalization. They have a lot of data, and they're a platform that helps drive awareness to our site, bring awareness to our brands, for both of them.
Okay. So for Purlisse, you took outside investment, but you have not so far for YENSA. Is that also learning?
Yes.
Is there a story behind that?
Yes. So with Purlisse, it's a long story, but I'll keep it very short. Basically, we were struggling. We took investment that were not the best of terms. I have since bought out my investor, and we are now 100% self-financed between Purlisse and YENSA. And what I learned from this is that we will eventually take outside funding, but right now I'm focused on hitting certain milestones before we take outside funding. And it was hard to buy out my investor, so I finally did, and I learned a lot of lessons through this process.
And I know when we were talking before, you alluded to kind of the positive aspects of sometimes waiting to take investment and kind of forcing yourself to bootstrap even when you don't want to. And do you want to expand on that a little bit for the brands in the room?
Yes. So when I was struggling, we had nothing. It forced me to be creative, and we worked under constraints. I mean, I was working out of my condo, shipping products by myself, and it wasn't until we started getting more momentum through direct-to-consumer that I realized we had a business. And so I do think when you're starting out, it's awesome to work under constraints. And I think the right time to take money is when you have a solid plan and you are close to being profitable, or you are profitable. And you need to clearly articulate where these funds are going. Because you hear a ton of companies, that raise a lot of money. I used to be impressed by that, but when you see 3 years later, they're shut down because they're beholden to the investors, I think, that's not so impressive, because if I was beholden to an investor, Purlisse wouldn't be where it's at. I would not have had a second chance. And so I think there's positives to having investors because they could really help you grow. But I think they can help you grow when you have a proven concept and you have real customers that are constantly buying your products. But other than that, I think it's like, I like the freedom of knowing that, hey, I'm building customers, and I'm getting our customers to love our products organically, and I'm not artificially buying them. Does that make sense?
That makes sense, yep. So speaking of investors, and pretty much while we're all here in this room today, there's a lot of brands, there's a lot of investors. The end game is usually to get investment, and then eventually, hopefully, you get bought by a strategic and have a big, big cash out in the end. So I get the sense that it's something deeper for you, even though maybe there is some of that in the end game. So do you want to expand on kind of your motivation, like what drives you every day?
Well, now that you know the origins of my story, you know it was never financially motivated because I wasn't making any money for many years. And first, I love what I am doing. I feel so grateful. I get to wake up every day. I get to create beauty products for women, and I get to employ a team of young, awesome, smart, motivated women. But during the recession, when I was struggling, I would constantly ask, why is this happening to me? And it was actually my girlfriends that really huddled around me to support me. And I prayed for a second chance, and I made a promise to myself that if I got back on my feet, that I would use my influence to help other women. And now I'm also a mom to a daughter. It gives me more of a reason to set an example for her, but also other women, that you can blaze your own trails, and then you can achieve financial independence.
Do you want to talk a little bit about your Dress for Success efforts? And I know there's a video too we wanted to put up that kind of explains a lot of it.
So when we launched YENSA, because of all the mistakes I made with my first company, I knew right off that we needed to stand for something. So when I was developing YENSA, I knew YENSA needed to be more than beauty products. So I decided to take an angle, partially because who I evolved to today, that YENSA is going to serve the working women. And we are about empowering women, women's leadership. And so when we launched products on 8th of every month, because each product's infused with 8 superfoods. So I decided, and I flew to New York in October, and I had this idea for a campaign. I want to partner with Dress for Success because their mission is very similar to ours. We want to promote financial economic independence for women. We want to help women get jobs. We want to encourage women build confidence in their abilities. And so we featured 8 superwomen in our campaign when we launched 8 shades of our BC foundation. And so this is the video.
I want to empower the girl who doesn't feel comfortable in her own skin.
I want to empower the woman who wants to be a mother and an entrepreneur.
The girl who's finding her voice.
The girl who's putting on a brave face.
The woman who has something to say.
Who needs confidence.
Who feels underrepresented.
Who's ready to fight.
Who was told you won't make it.
Give it up.
You're not strong enough.
Smart enough.
Pretty enough.
Too outspoken.
Sensitive.
Different.
Bossy.
Nice.
Too common.
Too young.
No.
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 No. No.
No.
No way.
I want to empower women.
Women.
Women. Women.
Women.
Women.
Women.
Because women helping women, that's beauty.
Right?
Who could you help?
Join us in your hour, her power. Donate an hour of your salary to Dress for Success. Empower a woman today.
So I don't know about all of you, but I feel very motivated and inspired by that, especially thinking that 10 years ago, Jennifer was pretty much without a lot of hope and kind of relaunching herself. So that's all of our questions for today. If you want to, maybe we can take a couple questions from the audience or brands. In the back there, did you have a question?
Yeah, now that you're 10 years in, what do you spend your day doing versus what you allocate to your team?
That's such a great question. I spend my time thinking about future products and then mainly growth and distribution. And also I oversee a lot of the creative direction for both Purlisse and YENSA.
Sure. Hi. Part of the creative process, what would you say helps you forecast what the users will want in the future? How do you stay on top of the trends before they become trends?
Right. So both of our brands are really rooted in effective products and really nourishing and products that work. So we have our core products that we will never deviate from. Yes, we will, on the fringes, tap into trends. So because we work with Ipsy a lot, we are able to get data. We'll send out, let's say, 500,000 samples in a month, right? And within 2 weeks, we know if this product is a hit based on the orders on our website and their feedback and the reviews, and they give us data. So if I know that a certain product does well, so like our BB cream is one of our best sellers, right?
The best BB cream, by the way. Yeah.
Thank you. And so I know that. So we launched with 1 shade. We now have 8, and we're going to have 11. But we're very careful and measured in what we do because we are self-financed. And so when I knew that this product was a hit, then we're like, hey, immediately let's go expand on it. So I partially go by intuition, what products that I personally love, and also data given by our partners. Thank you so much.